Drink me when you're ready for Wonderland. Getting your system to sound magical is like Wonderland. Trust the wrong Mad Hatter and you'll never find your way out of the rabbit hole! Lovely speakers, but without the proper cables, you're only hearing half of the story.
You've finally done it. You've curated a proper separate system, killer amplifier, smooth turntable, quality speakers. You've invested real money, but something's off. The sound is edgy and bright. Fatigue sets in way too fast. You find yourself turning the volume down instead of up. What went wrong? You nailed the synergy on every other link in the chain.
What's missing?
Except the one most people overlook. The speaker cables. Maybe you ignored them completely, or maybe you got pulled into the minefield of exotic, overpriced cables that promise the world but deliver compromised sound. Because here's the truth, expensive doesn't automatically mean good. Flashy marketing and fancy dress don't guarantee performance. They often hide serious engineering compromises. At Townshend, we don't do hype. We do solid, science-backed solutions that actually get you closer to the music. Our founder, Max Townshend, was a true stalwart of British hi-fi, one of the great original thinkers whose pioneering ideas have slowly become part of the mainstream over the years. A dedicated audio enthusiast who founded Townshend Audio in 1975, Max approached every engineering problem with one promise: to get one step closer to the music. Far more than profit, his life's work was about building products that were simply right, treating every minute detail of the signal with the utmost respect, and ensuring that every last piece of information on the disc is faithfully delivered to the ear. He had what audiophiles call a golden ear. Through years of careful listening, he discovered that the secret to truly natural, uncolored sound lay in proper impedance matching between the amplifier and the speaker. He could instantly hear when a cable was right and when it wasn't. But what exactly is impedance? In a speaker cable, it's the characteristic impedance, a property created by the cable's geometry, the spacing and shape of the conductors. This sets the cable's inductance and capacitance. Most ordinary cables have widely spaced conductors, producing a high characteristic impedance, often 100 to 300 ohms. Typical speakers sit around 8 ohms. That massive mismatch turns the cable into a transmission line full of tiny echoes. Think of it like the sea. When the water is calm and the shoreline is gently sloping, the waves roll in smoothly and back out again with no disturbance. But when waves hit a hard vertical seawall, they crash violently, spraying and churning with chaotic reflections. That's exactly what happens in a mismatched cable. The music's energy reflects back and forth instead of flowing cleanly to the speakers. These micro-reflections bounce back and forth with every musical transient. They smear timing, veil the finest detail, and subtly color the sound. Our ears and brains are astonishingly sensitive to these disruptions. The tiny details that audio is really concerned with, the micro-reflections, are heard and perceived by the brain far more than conventional measurements usually reveal. The result is music that sounds a little bright, edgy, or simply off. Using Maxwell's equations in the Poynting vector, we know the real audio energy travels in the electromagnetic field surrounding the conductors. That's why Isolda uses two precisely spaced flat copper strips, creating low impedance around 18 ohms that better matches your speakers. The result? Cleaner signal, fewer reflections, and more accurate music.
Now, there's been a lot of debate over the years as to whether there is or isn't a difference in cables. That's one debate. The other debate is, what is the difference? What is happening? How can there be a difference? Now, what we've done here is to devise an experiment that allows us to look at a cable under a very, very, very close microscope. And what we're doing is we're measuring the voltage between the amplifier ground and the speaker ground. Here's the cable, you've got a ground here, ground there, and we're measuring the voltage across the cable. On a perfect cable, that voltage should be 0. A real cable is going to have resistance, and you're going to get a signal which is a ratio of the signal across the output terminals and the resistance loss in the cable. If you get anything else other than a pure resistive loss, that's a cable artifact, and that's what we're looking for, and we think we've found it.
Every conductor is cryogenically treated. This process improves the metals at a microscopic level, reducing internal stresses and delivering greater clarity and smoothness. When you use these cables, the difference in your music is immediate and undeniable. The sound becomes more natural, more transparent, and more solid. The backgrounds turn pitch black. The music flows effortlessly, and every detail feels truly revealing. Many hi-fi systems use ordinary mains cable with 200 to 250 ohms impedance. Instead, you should use a proper low impedance cable matched to the speaker, ideally close to 8 ohms. So we set out to understand what we were clearly hearing. Using a simple range of equipment, a room equalizer wizard software plus white noise for spectrum analysis, a Focusrite Scarlett 2i2 audio interface, an 8 ohm dummy load, and a custom Townshend cable switch box for fast A/B testing. White noise testing with a cable tester makes these effects visible. Close conductor pairs behave neutrally, while widely spaced conductors showed a high-frequency rise caused by many reflections rather than a true frequency response increase. On the bottom, the x-axis is frequency, from 30 Hz on the left all the way to 20 kHz on the right. On the left, the y-axis shows the error in decibels. This is the unwanted voltage difference between the amplifier and the speaker. Lower and flatter is dramatically better. Any deviation means tonal coloration, smearing, or brightness. That thick black line hugging the very bottom, that's the near perfect reference. Basically a short circuit running also at identical to the Townshend's Isolda cable with its closely spaced flat ribbon geometry. It's almost completely flat across the entire audio band. Minimal error, no peaks or rises. Now look at the other traces above it. Each one is a different cable geometry with varying conductor spacing and characteristic impedance. The more widely spaced the conductors, higher impedance, the worse it gets. You see big rises in error, especially above a few hundred hertz. Those mismatches cause multiple reflections on every musical transient. When you use these cables, the difference in your music is immediate and undeniable. The sound becomes more natural, more transparent, and more solid. The backgrounds turn pitch black, the music flows effortlessly, and every detail feels truly revealing. People who've experienced Townshend Isolda cables say the same thing over and over. The sound is cleaner, more solid, with greater weight and depth. Bass becomes seismic yet perfectly controlled. The music feels more natural, more honest, more real. Fatigue-free with incredible three-dimensional imaging and timing that just pulls you in. For our ultimate expression, we take it one step further with our proprietary fractal treatment. By refining the crystalline structure at the atomic level, fractal wire lowers DC resistance by up to 12%, dramatically reduces distortion, and reveals a level of transparency and purity that goes far beyond even our legendary Isolda EDCT cryogenic cables. The result is breathtaking. Deeper silence between notes, tighter, more powerful bass, and a holographic 3D soundstage unlike anything you've experienced. One long-term Isolda user put it perfectly. We are long-term users of Townshend speaker cable, but that didn't prepare us for the shock to the system that is F1 fractal. Game-changing transparency, more information than I've ever encountered with cables. One listener described it as finally escaping the Alice in Wonderland confusion of hi-fi cables. As he put it, I thought I would never find my way out of the Alice in Wonderland confusion, which seems to be hi-fi cables. Now I believe you have the answer with impedance matching. At Townshend, we deal in these fractional improvements. We're dealing with delicate signals here, and we do everything possible to preserve them exactly as they are, adding nothing, taking nothing away. This same philosophy runs through everything. We make our seismic isolation supports, for example, isolating vibrations in all 3 axis bands, vertical, horizontal, and side to side, from the deepest bass from 3 Hz all the way up to the highest frequencies. No more floorborne rumble muddying your music, just cleaner bass, sharper detail, and a wider, deeper soundstage. Place it under your speakers or electronics and hear the difference immediately when you float the equipment. Our ribbon super tweeters harness the precedence effect. The extremely fast leading edge of a note lets the brain experience sound in a dimension normal speakers cannot deliver. Rooted in deeper human perception, they reveal magic beyond the 20 kHz limit. Townshend Audio is not a luxury lifestyle brand, a technology brand, or a marketing-led hi-fi company. Townshend is an engineering-led company focused on removing distortion, reducing unwanted vibration, preserving musical coherence, and allowing recordings to sound more natural and believable. The goal is not excitement, the goal is clarity. The goal is not spectacle, the goal is coherence. The goal is not to impress, the goal is to reveal.